Most bloggers really want to work with brands, but they don't do a few crucial things to make them really stand out. This makes it harder to find brands that they want to work with. I'm going to show you what these things are to make sure that you can do them to jumpstart your success with brands. Hey there, I'm Jason Logston, and this is Makin Bacon, all about helping you serve your fans, grow your income, and get the most out of your blog. In a recent video, I talked about several of the paths that you can take to become a successful food blogger. Today, I want to focus on one that a lot of people end up going with, but they don't actually plan ahead of time for it, and that holds them back. I'm talking about working with brands. This is something that a lot of people fall into. They don't really approach it as a specific end goal. But if you do want to work with brands, there's a lot of things along the way that you can use to speed up that process and make yourself look more and more valuable to them a lot earlier than you would otherwise. Working with brands is also a very wide field. This can be influencer work or sponsored posts even that people are paying you to put out content to your fans. This could also be working directly with a company, creating content or recipes and licensing it to them or creating it directly for them. You may be the face of their YouTube channel that they hire you to put out videos every week. Companies might also hire you on as a consultant, whether that's in food photography, social media outreach, or a host of other things that companies are looking for help trying to accomplish. You might also be hired to do demo work, where you travel around at different conferences doing demos for companies, doing cookbooks, either traditional or self-published for companies, or doing a cooking show either on an actual broadcast network or on a YouTube channel for a company. So there's lots of different ways you can interact with companies, and all of these are successful outcomes of having a good blog. You're just going to want to attack them differently than you would if you're trying to sell products or if you're just trying to drive traffic and sell ads. And that's because if you want to work with any of these companies, you have to remember that the brands are your audience, not the people coming and reading your content. Everything you do needs to be designed to speak to these brands and to make yourself look good in their eyes. Yeah, you need some traffic coming in and you need eyeballs on your stuff, but it's more important to put out the specific content that you know these brands are looking for than it is to just drive traffic or sell ads. I think a really good example of this is that if you want to be the face of a brand's in-house YouTube or video campaigns, then it really doesn't matter if you have a huge YouTube following. If you're putting out weekly content that's crushing it, that's high quality, that shows the type of personality and the type of content that these brands want, they know that they're sticking you in front of their audience. They're already built-in audience in a lot of cases. So the fact that you don't have as many followers as some other people that might be doing kind of hokey off-brand things are doing doesn't matter to them because they're looking for someone that's going to represent their brand really well. On the other hand, if you want to do sponsored video work where these companies are going to be paying you to put out videos under your own content, then you need a lot more fans. But knowing which one you're trying to speak to can really affect the type of content you put out through your whole blogging process. There are several strengths to this path. The biggest is that brands have money. They're spending money. If you can show them that you can provide a return on their investment, they will continue to give you money because you're going to continue making it worth their while. So the more you can understand what the brands are looking for and the type of value they're looking to get out of their investment, the more you can continue to move forward and grow your brand work. It's also pretty easy to scale and grow the money that you're making with brands, at least to a certain point. The easiest way to grow your money with brands is to get bigger brands to pay you more money. The more experience you have doing this, the more you're going to get paid. So it works out pretty good compared to having to double your traffic with content marketing. And once you start building up these connections, they tend to start snowballing. So you might do a sponsored post for a company, and that goes really well. And then you license them some recipe content that they want to use on their own site. And maybe that work turns into a few more sponsored posts, which turns into a brand ambassadorship, which turns into them actually bringing you on as a consultant. There's lots of ways that your income can grow without having to bring in new clients every single time. One of the other nice things is that working with these brands helps grow your own brand. You work with someone that's putting advertising dollars behind your face and your image, that's a win for me. They're paying you money. They're also putting you in front of a new audience. If you do a good job, it's going to help you get better jobs down the road, continuing to grow your brand work. There are a few weaknesses. The biggest is that you are trading your time for money. This is not a passive income. Most brand work, you'll get a job, you have to put the time in on the job, and then you get paid. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you're looking for something that's going to passively provide income, most brand work is not that. This is also a pretty competitive space. If you talk to most bloggers, they'll say, yeah, I'd love to work with brands. I want to get more brand work. But the big difference here is most of them don't build their blog and build their content around working with brands. They try to build a content marketing blog where they're just bringing in lots of people through SEO traffic, and they're not really putting out the type of stuff that brands really want to see. So if you do want to work with brands, it's the type of thing that you can look at early on. What type of content can you put out that's going to speak to these brands and make you really stand out from all the other food bloggers that are just trying to get in front of them? You're going to have a big leg up when you start talking to them directly. A big negative is that not all brands can recognize the value that a blogger can bring to the table. You can provide value and return on their investment, and they don't see it. And that can be frustrating. It's usually best just to walk away from those brands and try not to let it get to you, but it can be a hard pill to swallow sometimes. This goal, to be its most effective, also can require a lot of selling. It can be hard to pick up a phone and call a brand or send out an email. But you know what? Most bloggers don't do that. I know it can be scary. I hate calling people on the phone. I don't like sending cold emails. But if you put in the time and energy and challenge yourself to be vulnerable and do this, you're going to stand out from all the other bloggers that are out there, and you're really going to jumpstart your odds of success down this path. If this is a path you want to go down, the biggest thing you need to focus on is understanding what brands you want to work with and exactly what they're looking for, then creating content around that specific area. It also helps a whole lot, like I said, if you're willing to reach out and talk to these brands. The phone's the best way to do it because almost no one picks up a phone anymore, and you can get directly on the line with the people that are making the hiring decisions. And I'll reiterate that it's not important to drive a lot of traffic to your blog. It's more important to be putting out the type of content these blogs are looking for. You need some traffic and you need some fans, and the more you have, the better to a certain extent. But it's more important to be really putting out things that's resonating with the brands, because ultimately that's who you want to be working with, not the people coming to your blog, the brands. So try to speak directly to them. The place where you put out content really matters on how you want to work with the brands. If you want to be the video face for a brand, then you should be on YouTube or you should be on Facebook Live. You should be doing the type of content that you want to be doing for these brands. Writing blog posts isn't where you should be spending the majority of your time. You should be creating the type of content that they're looking for. Brands are just one way that you can make money as a successful food blogger. But one of the most important things is making sure that you're in a job that you love. Check out this video, and it's going to tell you how you can ensure that you create a job for yourself that you love to work in.